friends, and thank you for joining me today. Well, it's been a beautiful day, but it's been a crazy day because, of course, we are expecting a huge storm tomorrow. So, for those of you who are local, I hope you're not planning to come in tomorrow because we are going to be closed. So we have a snow day tomorrow. You can go sledding or build a snowman, or you can bead. So those are not tough choices for me. And I think you guys are probably on the same page. Either way, we are closed tomorrow. So that is my first announcement. And I actually have quite a few today, but I think I will space them out because I am very, very excited to share today's project with you. And this is, you know what?
Gemstone Harmony.
Yes, thank you, Tony, because sometimes I name them and I'm so excited and then I forget what I call them. So this is the Gemstone Harmony bracelet, and I have two variations of the Gemstone Harmony.
You have Copper Valentine and
Copper
Purple
Valentine
Trillium.
And Purple Trillium. Thank you so much, Tony.
Katie says, Happy Thursday all. Love this heart-shaped button. I'm excited to be getting more snow.
Oh, yay, Katie. I saw your veggie snowman. You shared a picture with us. I don't know if it was on our Facebook page. I hope everybody saw your picture because it was adorable. Oh my gosh. Someday, hopefully, when I have some grandbabies, I'm going to be building a veggie snowman with them. And thank you for the inspiration.
Allie says, hi, looks like a fun project. Hoping for another snow day from school.
Oh, hi, Allie. Well, yes, you are a teacher, so you might get one. And, you know, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if you get one tomorrow because I think it's going to be kind of a big storm. I mean, we canceled as of this morning. I hope everybody saw on Facebook that we're not open tomorrow, but hopefully all goes well and we'll be open on Saturday. So come on in this weekend.
We still have the video tomorrow, though.
We do, yes. So Tony and I are going to brave the elements because we have the video tomorrow. But thankfully, yes, we do have a big vehicle to get through the snowdrifts. And of course, we live about 3 minutes away from the store. So it's not a very long drive. But if you can stay at home and if you don't need to go anywhere, just bead, make something beautiful.
Jeline says hello.
Hi, Jeline, and thank you so much for joining us.
Ellen says, hi, Irina and everyone.
Hi, Ellen.
Fonda says, good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Hi, Fonda, and happy Thursday to you.
Patricia says, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Patricia.
Lori says, good evening, Irina and Tony.
Hi, Lori.
Everyone is sending hearts, by the way.
Yay, thank you so much. And guess what? I am sending you a heart. I don't know if I never know if I'm doing it correctly, but I have a heart in this bracelet. So this is my nod to Valentine's Day, which is coming up in just a short month.
Trudy says, hi, all.
Hi, Trudy.
And Lori says, everything is closing here in Illinois.
Oh, yes, yes. Big storm, ladies. And let me know if you're watching from other states that are expecting a big storm. So I wouldn't be surprised if northern Illinois gets as much snow as we do.
Angela says, good evening.
Hi, Angela, and good evening to you, my friend. Okay, ladies, so a little bit about the bracelet that we are making and the techniques. So this is obviously a knotting project, which, you know, is my happy place. One of the things that I love to do. is not. And this is definitely on the easier side of a knotting project. And we're going to be using a button, a beautiful button in this case, in this colorway. It's the Patricia Healy button. And in fact, some of you are familiar with Patricia Healy's work. She's the wonderful artist who uses copper, and she creates a flame patina on copper by using a torch. In fact, in the last couple of Friday videos, we explored quite a few of her pieces, and you guys bonded with a lot of her pieces. So this is one of her beautiful little diminutive pieces, a button. So we're going to be using a button to so essentially we're going to use the button as a clasp. And I actually get this question from a lot of people. It's very easy to get started, but how do you finish? And there are several different ways to finish when you use this technique. And so today we're going to explore a really fun and simple technique to make a loop and create a beautifully finished professional piece using a button as a clasp for a bracelet.
Kim K says, happy Thursday. Hope everyone is doing well.
Hi, Kim. Thank you so much. And happy Thursday to you, my friend.
Lori says, big snow in Madison, where I'm originally from. All my family is there.
Oh, yes, lots of snow. We're only an hour away, if that. On a good day, it's even less than an hour away from Madison. So, yeah, they're probably going to have just as much snow as we will.
Connie says, good evening. Running late. Beautiful pieces.
Hi, Connie, and thank you so much. I'm so glad you're joining us.
Trudy says it starts here at 1 on Friday and goes through Saturday. Then the second round is on Sunday.
Oh, good times. Only if you want to build a snowman. So I hope you don't need to go anywhere and can just stay at home and enjoy, drink some kind of a nice warm drink, maybe a hot chocolate, do a little beading, create a fun bracelet. Okay, ladies, so, and of course, this one is the purple trillium, and it is, it's the same exact technique. So, two completely different palettes, and I really enjoy playing with color, playing with stones, and creating these palettes. So we have a kind of a southwestern palette that is inspired by the beautiful Patricia Healy button. And then we have kind of a purple lavender, very sweet palette. What is it inspired by? Probably just the color lavender. So this is just all shades of purples and lavenders, just because, you know, sometimes you are drawn to a specific palette. And maybe the trillium button is just sort of evocative of spring. You know how we see trilliums in the spring, although they're never actually lavender, to the best of my knowledge. I always see them either white or pink. Do you guys have trilliums in your area? What color are they? Do they come in any color other than pink or white?
Trudy says, should say that she's in Michigan.
Ah, in Michigan.
So yes, we're sending it your way.
Not intentionally.
Lorraine says, hi, Irina, Tony, and everyone.
Hi, Lorraine, and thank you for joining us.
Jane says, love both of them.
Oh, thank you so much, Jane, and good evening.
Yolanda says, good evening.
Hi, Yolanda, and thanks for joining us.
Allie says, such a great way to use spare beads or a fun mix.
Thank you so much. So yes, this is definitely every little bead that you select for this project, and this is a sample of what your kits are going to look like. So I know it seems like a tiny little pile of beads, but it will actually make up to, I believe, what did we say, 8.5?
I think.
But really it's more like 9 inches. I always estimate on the lower side, but really it's more like 9-inch bracelet. So this is a fun little mix, and I love this colorway. I do love both colorways, but I'm particularly drawn to the Patricia Healy button one. I guess I should not refer to that as Patricia Healy because, the button is hers, the rest is mine.
Lorraine says white trillium.
Yeah, white trillium, right? Have you ever seen pink ones?
Katie says the trillium button is pretty too. There is a dark burgundy / purplish trillium species.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to look that up. That sounds beautiful. So actually, there is a purple trillium. That's crazy. I must have just dreamt it, and it's really true. That's awesome. So we are going to get started, ladies. I'm excited about this project, and we are just going to get going. So this is our color palette, but wait, there is more. So in addition to the beads, of course, in this project in particular, the stringing material really makes a difference. I know this does not look really beautiful when it's like that, but I really enjoy a little texture and color from my stringing material. And more often than not, I like to select the stringing material that's going to bring something to the table. And this, of course, is Ceylon. It's one of my most favorite stringing materials. And by the way, speaking of stringing materials, we have been exploring staples in the Friday videos, the shopping event videos. And so as we are exploring the staples, I am kind of, it's really hard to decide what staples do I explore. And then after pondering this a little bit, I decided I'm going to explore my staples, things that I use a lot in my own work. So actually tomorrow we'll be perusing some Ceylon colors, and so anyway, so back to the project. So the color of your string can make such a difference and can bring so much to the table. So in addition to just the color, it also introduces a slightly different texture. It's a very good way to put a little spacing between our beads, and also movement. Here, the way it moves is because it is on that Ceylon string. So, so it's really one of my favorite things to string on. And okay, so now that we have said all of that, we are going to decide on the bead order. And you can lay out the entire thing, and for most of you, they're definitely going to be extra beads, or you can just wing it if you want to. So I am only going to decide on the first few beads. So here's going to be my first bead and maybe my second bead. And how I decide is I really like contrast. So as you look around the bracelet, either colorway really, and so as you look, you can definitely see that I try to go for contrast, even though the purple trillium is a bit more monochromatic. It's still fairly contrasting when you go from one bead to the next. And so in this colorway, I use primarily amethyst and chevron amethyst, blue chalcedony, and a little bit of iolite. So there's still, even though it's all shades of purple, but there's still a lot of contrast to be had. And then, of course, the copper heart colorway, there's a lot of contrast, and that is the one that I'm going to be working on right now. So your bracelet does not have to be laid out exactly like mine, but this is just an example of how I would approach the order of beads. So, excuse me. So I go by contrast. And here is our, you know what? I just realized that there's one little thing I'm missing. And I'm going to ask Tony to grab me a couple of bead caps. So it's these little bead caps right here, and they're going to be on in the tray on Bonnie's desk. And so while he's grabbing the bead caps, I will just point to where they are in the bracelet right there, and we'll lay out a few more of the beads.
And Fonda was wondering, what are the stones you're using in each of the bracelets?
So yes, Fonda, thank you so much for asking. So as I was mentioning, I use several different shades of amethyst in the Trillium bracelet, and then a little blue chalcedony and a little iolite. You know, I love iolite because, in fact, I love them all. But iolite is kind of special because it's really a little more blue than purple, and it just brings in another color that you can possibly wear the bracelet with. Some people are a little more monochromatic, of course, than others. I would wear it with so many different colors. But, you know, of course, the more color you introduce in a project, the more it's going to really shine with certain colors that you wear. I hope that made sense. So,
Allie says, I've become a huge fan of Ceylon because of you, Irina.
oh, yay, Allie!
Outside of Kumihimo, I didn't know how many ways to use it you could enhance projects.
Oh, thank you so much, Allie. You know, I so agree with you. It's the way that I use Ceylon is a lot more casual than Kumihimo. Kumihimo is always a certain pattern, and that's great, you know. If you enjoy working on patterns, that's wonderful. But there's so many other ways. My way generally involves knotting. Occasionally I will braid, but for the most part, I just really love knotting in between beads. And there are different ways to approach it. You can use one strand and just simply string a bead, knot, and then string the next bead. Sometimes I use this approach where I use a two-string technique where I actually go around the bead, and so each of the beads has a little string showing. Sometimes it's on one side, sometimes it's on the other side, but I feel like that little bit of string showing, I hope you guys can see that. So that little bit of string showing, it's just a little more texture, a little more color, it's a little more boho. So it actually brings a lot to the table. And on that note, so here I have my Ceylon, and I don't remember the actual color that, you know, it's that it's labeled, but I'll just say it's burgundy, and it may very well be burgundy. So this is kind of a classic burgundy, a dark red. And so it's really complementary to a lot of the beads and a bit contrasting to some of the other beads. And the first thing I'm going to do is make a self needle on each end. And a lot of you, of course, have seen this like a schmillion times. And that is because it is such a really useful technique. So I'm just going to use my my glue, my super new glue, and put a little bit on each end. And the key here is to use a piece of paper and to remove as much as you can. And I'm sure you heard that squeak. I know it's not like a super melodious sound, but if you hear that squeak, it's a good thing because that means you are removing as much as possible. And super new glue dries very, very quickly, especially when there's such a small amount. So when you open your kits, you are going to find 4 feet of Ceylon in each kit. And the first thing we're going to do is just make our self needles. So I think this is actually dry enough already. And the second part of making a self needle is simply cutting our Ceylon at a nice angle so that the end of the string actually comes to a little point, just like a needle. And it's a little bit stiff, so it's going to be a lot easier to go through our beads. And now we're going to start with the button. And so each button has a top and a bottom, so it's a little bit convex or a little bit domed. It's a little domed on one side, and we're starting on the side that is domed. So I am just going through each of the holes with my Ceylon, and now I will make a knot. So when I make the knot, I'm going to make it fairly close to the edge, and I can be just on the inside of the button or just on the outside or right at the edge. So my point is I'm not making it as close as I possibly can to the 2 holes. And okay, so before I make the knot, this is just a very simple overhand knot. And the way I do this is wrap the string either around 2 fingers or 3 fingers, and then grab onto the string just like that. Just a really simple overhand knot. Pull the string through, and of course in this case I'm doing it with both ends of the string, and tighten the knot. And sometimes one of the strings tightens a little faster than the other. Doesn't really matter. We can pull on them separately as well. So I'm trying to place it fairly close to the edge of the button, something like that. So the reason I'm spending a little bit of time on the placement is because if you place it too close, you are going to have a little bit of stiffness in how the button turns, and you want the button to be able to turn very freely. So just kind of slide on that loop that we have just created. So now that we've created the loop, we are going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead with each end of our string. And so now I'm just putting my 11/0 seed beads right next to the knot and tie one more knot, just kind of fixing those 2 beads in place. So this little space, it's almost like a nice long shank. And this way we have just added a little decorative element right next to the button. And also we have our button just sliding very freely on the loop. So as I was saying, you can either lay out the entire bracelet, or you can just pick up your beads, as the spirit moves you. So maybe I'm just going to remix these just because. So there's really no right or wrong, but since I'm not going to string the entire piece, I just wanted to include this little Amazonite bead so that we can talk about the bead caps. And the way I do this is I simply slide the bead onto one of the strings, so not two. And again, this is going to be, the entire thing really is going to be a series of overhand knots. So I start my overhand knot like this, I pull my string, and the key here is in placing the knot as close as you possibly can to the hole on the other side of the bead. And my trick, or it's not really a trick, but my technique is I simply hold my thumb right over the string and kind of fix it in place so that my knot ends up right on the other side. Otherwise, if you are not being really deliberate about the knot placement, what happens is you may end up with a knot like right there on the side of the bead. So that's not exactly what we want. So as you can see, I have just placed my first bead, and I have two little strings coming out of the knot. And, you know, if you want to do it very casually and just throw the beads on, that is totally fine. I like to actually be deliberate as far as where my string ends up. So as you can see, one of the strings is closer to me, just kind of naturally, the way it comes out of the knot. The other side of the string is further away. So since this string is closer to me right here, I want for my next bead, I want the string to go on the opposite side of the bead. I hope that made sense. So let's string another bead, and I'm being really cognizant of which string I grabbed. I grabbed the one that's closer to me, and this way the knot is going to, or I'm sorry, the string that goes around the bead is going to be on the opposite side. So it's almost kind of like a wave that is going to be the pattern formed by the string. It's also a little easier for me if I flip it over. So I'm just going to keep flipping. So again, I'm starting the knot, and before I tighten it, I'm going to hold onto the string where I'm literally giving it no choice but to end up right at the hole. Does this make sense, you guys? I hope it makes sense. It's a very, very simple technique, but I feel like, you know, the string placement adds something really fun to the project. Can you guys see how it's almost like a little wave like this?
Yes.
Okay.
I can.
Yeah, Tony can see it, so that means you guys can too. So just let me know, please. Okay, so now I'm going to place another bead. And this time I'm going to be using my Amazonite bead. And it's not that you have to put the bead caps on the Amazonite bead. You have one set of bead caps. You can place it anywhere you want. But I feel that because of the contrast, it's really nice. It looks great on the Amazonite. So let's figure out which string to put the whole set on. And since this time I want the string that goes around to be going towards me like this, I will string the bead caps as well as the bead on the remaining string.
Fonda and Allie say yes. Makes sense.
Yay! Thank you so much, ladies. I love feedback. And in the spirit of feedback, guess what? It's only 2 short weeks before, wait, is it even 2 weeks? Yes, it's just a little under 2 weeks, in fact, before I go to Tucson. So if you have any thoughts or special requests, or if you just want to share your favorite stone, please let me know, because that's exactly what I will be focusing on. I don't know what I'm coming back with. It could be more than just stone, but stone is a really big part of why we go to Tucson. Okay, so you can see it's exactly the same technique whether you're using bead caps or not.
Allie says another satisfying project that can be done in a shorter amount of time.
You are absolutely right, Allie. I am all about these shorter, satisfying projects. You know, it's just so fun to sit down and make your piece from start to finish. Not that I don't work on longer pieces, you know, pieces that make take a little more time, but I do like these shorter projects. Very satisfying. Okay, guys, so I'm really getting excited about this already because I love how the luster on the button and of course the colors of the beads, they really harmonize. They're so it's like they just want to hang out together. So you get the idea. The entire bracelet is knotted in exactly the same way. So I think we're just going to push that fast forward button, and through the magic of Facebook Live, we have a bracelet that is much further along. Okay, it's a little bit tangled. Let's untangle it. It's actually not tangled. I kind of tied a loose knot so that I don't lose anything. So this is what it looks like when it is strung and knotted. And of course, as you are stringing and knotting, it's always a really good thing to just keep trying it on. Just keep trying. Well, you know, if you're making it for yourself, that is, keep trying it on. And if you're not making it for yourself, hopefully you know the size of the person's wrist, because this one is not adjustable. It doesn't have that little extender chain.
Allie says it would make a pretty necklace too.
Thank you so much, Ellie. Yes, it would. I totally agree with you. Yeah, it would be really fun as a necklace, even, you know, like a button and all. And who knows, maybe I'll make one of these into a necklace at some point. So, just in the spirit of measuring and just planning. So please know you will most likely have some beads left over. And the loop is going to be just a little bit over 1/2 inch. So whatever length you're making, obviously it's very easy if you're making it for yourself. All you have to do is just wrap it around your wrist. And if I'm making it for myself, my strategy is to stop just short of when the bead meets the button. And this, I'm holding it somewhat snugly, knowing that I will add 1/2 inch to my bracelet, and that will make it exactly right. So I like about 1/2 inch extra length, just to accommodate for a comfortable fit. So whatever length you're making, just keep in mind that 1/2 inch of loop that you're going to add. So when I get to my last bead in my bracelet and I'm ready to start the finishing process, I'm going to tie another knot yet, but I'm going to make it just a tiny bit looser. So I'm not trying to get super close to the hole. I'm going to leave just a tiny little bit of space, not a lot of space, just enough space so that I can easily sneak in there with my string. So let's tie this and make it nice and snug. I hope I left a little bit of space. Yes, I did. So just that little bit, you see that little triangle of space, that's really all you're going to need. So we are good. And so now, guess what we're going to do? We are going to do more knotting yet. And I will show you the beads I have left, having made the bracelet about 7 inches. Okay, so these are all the beads I have left. And so this is how long, actually it's much longer than this, that we can add to the bracelet because the knots actually add a lot of space. You can see the knots on this are a little chunky. We can also kind of just stretch the bracelet a little bit to relax it so that it hangs or it drapes nicely around your wrist. So now we are going to start picking up 1 seed bead per string, very much the same way as we did in the very beginning. And so each bead goes on one side or on one end of the string and tie a knot. So bear with me, ladies. I will be tying quite a few knots. And something to pay attention to is, well, at least I like to pay attention to the position of the seed beads. So now that I have 1 seed bead in front, 1 seed bead in back, I'm going to try to keep it the same way. I'll show you in just a moment. So while I'm knotting, I'm also going to try to remember everything I need to tell you guys. Oh, okay, so here we go. You can see how right now they're a bit of a mirror image. I am not fond of that. So I'm going to swap these, and so now they are the same pattern. I know it's a very, very simple pattern, but I think it makes a difference once the bracelet is finished. So now that I got them into place, I will tie a knot. And once you have the knot, they cannot move to a different pattern, right? So they can't move. So they're just going to stay in this very same pattern, just like that. And I don't remember how many pairs I have, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So of course, 7 is a really good guideline. It's not necessarily the rule, because some of the buttons may be a little smaller, some of them may be a little larger, not by a whole lot, so that's not going to be a huge factor. But what's going to be a little bit more of a factor is how you knot. Some people are really tight knotters and some people are a little looser. So who knows, you may end up with 6 pair or you may end up with 8 pair. So 7 pair of seed beads is just a nice guideline. And by the way, even though these are 2 different buttons, the heart and the trillium, I actually ended up with the same number of seed beads on each of these colorways. So that is something good to know. So I'm just going to continue knotting. And so again, let me remind you that we are closed tomorrow because of the storm. So please do come visit us on Saturday or Sunday. We should be open by then. And we're still doing the video tomorrow. So if you're looking forward to the shopping event, I have to tell you, it's going to be an exciting one. I have a really wild card in this. I'm just going to give you a little hint. It's something that is museum quality. It is something so exciting, and we have never had it before. Really beautiful.
Gloria's wondering what size seed beads you are using.
Oh, thank you for asking, Lori.
Yes.
So these are 11O seed beads. And I actually went with glass seed beads because I had them in the right color. Normally, I go with metal seed beads, which is exactly what I have on the lavender colorway. So either way, they're 11s.
Lori says thank you.
My pleasure, Lori. Okay, so let's keep track. This is 5 pair already. So we don't want to get carried away and make like, I don't know, 5 inches of loop, right? So just keep in mind, this is going to be our loop that our button has to fit through. So whatever you're doing, just keep, just keep casually trying. It's like a fitting. It's like when you're having a garment made and it's like a fitting, and you can see this is still very, very small. So just because I'm a fairly consistent knotter, I think I am going to need 7 pair. But as I mentioned, you may need a little more or you may need a little less, and you certainly have enough seed beads in your kit. So what other announcements do we have? So next week, ladies, I am going to have, and I'll do the preview later, but I just want to make sure that I don't forget this. So next week is actually going to be our last project, our last Thursday project before my Tucson trip. Of course, there will be more Thursday projects once we return, but I think we're going to be skipping 2 weeks. So just wanted you to know about that. Okay, so I can count. This is 6 pair. So 1 more. So, so we will be taking a little break from Thursday projects while we are in Tucson. And in fact, 2 weeks from now, we will also be taking a little break from our Friday projects. Although, as per our usual, I do hope to make a little video from Tucson. So that's always really fun because I do it outside in the elements, and I really enjoy that. So weather permitting, we will be doing that. And of course, we love to preview our treasures that we acquire in Tucson. So that's a little bit less predictable than our regular videos. So stay tuned, and we'll try to give you a little bit of a heads up as far as the day and time. But that is a little fluid. Okay, so here are my 7 pair of seed beads, and now I'm just going to take 1 end of my string, and remember that little tiny space we left? I am going to go through that little space, making a loop. So there's our loop. And again, once we tie it in place, we can kind of play with it a little bit, stretch it out a little bit, make it a little bit more flexible. Also, as you wear it, everything kind of loosens up and becomes a little more flexible.
Allie says, will you do a video from Tucson to share the sunshine? And she says, you just answered my question.
Yes, Allie, and thank you for asking. I love sharing the sunshine from Tucson. It's always, I think the landscape kind of adds a little bit. And literally, you know how we do this? We will be driving and we'll go, oh, look at that picturesque spot. That will be a great video spot. And then I usually just sit on the ground and I have some kind of a basket in front of me. And I show off some of the goodies, and it's really fun. So here is our loop. And as you saw, I went through the little opening, tied another overhand knot yet. And it's really all about overhand knots. It's really all I do. I just use them in different ways, that's all. And now we're going to tie another overhand knot with each end of the string. And this is going to be our little finishing touch, our baubles that are just kind of hanging there, making everything nice and casual and very boho. So this is what I have left. And I can pick any of these beads. I'll show you the beads I have in the original sample. So here's a sample, and I have a little carnelian bead, and then I have a chrysocolla bead. There are so many different beads in this, or so many different stones and pearls in this bracelet. There's carnelian, there is chrysocolla, obviously. There are various jaspers. There are pearls. I'm sure there's something I'm omitting. There's garnet. So it just kind of goes with everything. And I think this time I'm going to leave out the little carnelian guy and maybe just grab this one. This is a Tibetan agate. Love Tibetan agates. And maybe, I think I need one of these coated agates as well. Okay, I'm just going to commit to this. And you can probably just tie one knot, or you can tie, instead of the regular overhand knot, you can do a surgeon's knot. And it's really very similar to a regular overhand knot. So this is a regular overhand. And if you just take the end of the string, put it through the loop one more time, you're going to get a surgeon's knot, which I did not actually do on the original sample, but you can. So what this is going to do is give us a slightly larger and more decorative knot. So this is what it looks like. And I will do the same with the other end of the string.
Lori says, I love the Tibetan bead.
Oh, yay. Thank you, Lori. Yeah, I just really enjoy them. I think there's something very kind of zen about them. Very, I don't know, how do we even describe Tibetan beads or Tibetan agate? They usually have a little bit of a pattern. You know, sometimes it's just a little stripe like that. Sometimes it's a different pattern, but they're definitely very recognizable. And that's it. So now I'm just going to cut off any excess string and we're done. That's it. That's all there is to it. If it feels like your loop is a little stiff, at this point, you can just kind of play with it, loosen it up. But as I mentioned, it will loosen up on its own as you wear it. So, of course, I would love to model it for you. I have to turn it this.
Fonda is wondering if what size Ceylon are you using?
Oh, thank you for asking, Fonda. I am using standard size Ceylon, which is really my go-to. And that is why when you guys asked me for some staples, and as I said, I thought long and hard about the staples. And I thought, you know, I can't omit the Ceylon because I love Ceylon so much. It's definitely one of my staples. It may not be everybody's staple, but, you know, I love it.
Ellie says cactus and cute elf owls in the cactus.
Oh my God, elf owls are beyond adorable. They live in their cactus condos. Did you guys know that saguaro cacti are actually a condo for so many different animals and birds? They're just lovely.
Lori's wondering if you've ever had them for sale in a Friday show, the Tibetan agate.
Tibetan agate? No, I don't believe so. But let me keep it in mind. To be honest, you know, a lot of my, especially lately towards the end of the year, a lot of the stones that I have been choosing for my Friday videos, I have been doing a lot of discounting, as I know you guys know this. And so with Tibetan agates, we sell out of them faster than, you know, they don't necessarily last till the end of the year. But, you know, I can see what I can do. Or actually, even better than that, I can most certainly look for some Tibetan agate on my trip and make sure to include it in one of the videos shortly after I come back. So this is what we just made. Yay. And of course, the one that I actually just made is on my wrist. I really wanted this colorway. There's some pieces that I make in these videos that I truly bond with. And this is one of them. In fact, all three bracelets that I have on right now at points have been parts of videos. And some of them I just, you know, I bond with and I end up wearing them. And okay, ladies, so I would love to share what is coming up in the next week or so.
Fonda says very pretty.
Thank you so much, Fonda. So, in a month, guess what we're going to have? Valentine's Day, and we're going to be celebrating love. So this is a little different, right? And I was thinking, what do I want to make? And of course, I made earrings as well. And, you know, we still have almost a week until next Thursday. And this is going to be my video for next Thursday, which is also my last video before Tucson. So now we have BT and AT, before Tucson, after Tucson. So this is going to be, you know what? Actually, no. Let's do this chronologically, shall we? So tomorrow, we're going to have a live shopping event with gemstones and stringing materials and more fun surprises. And this is going to be tomorrow, January 12th at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Eclectica page. So please join me for that. I have a crazy cool surprise. You don't want to miss this. And then I'm going to be making Be My Valentine tassel and earrings, and who knows, maybe something else as well. So this is going to be next Thursday, which is January 18th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on my jewelry design page. So I believe that is all the previews, right? And well, actually, yes, that is all the previews, because we talked about how we're closed tomorrow. We talked about Tucson, and if you have any thoughts or suggestions as far as what I should look for, if you maybe are aware of a trend that you enjoy and you think everybody else should be a part of it, please let me know. If you like certain gemstones, please let me know. And so we have the video tomorrow, January 12th. We have the video on Thursday, January 18th, Friday again, January 19th, and then we're going to take a little break, and then please watch for, we'll have some type of a notice as far as when we'll be doing the Tucson preview, so I hope you guys join me for that as well.
Lorraine says, all your bracelets are pretty.
Oh, thank you so much, Lorraine.
Kim K says, beautiful bracelets.
Thank you, Kim.
Trudy says, love this bracelet.
Thank you. I am so happy.
Allie says, such a cute Valentine's Day project. Looks like candy.
Thank you. And you know about this one, it's so the reason I wanted to do something like a tassel rather than an entire necklace is because you can just take this and clip it onto any necklace, onto any zipper. You can put it on your purse, you can put it on your hoodie. So, you know, it's kind of versatile as far as you can just be putting it on a different thing every day. You can hang it from your mirror in your car. Although I myself don't like to hang distracting things from my mirror. But as far as wearing it differently somewhere on my body or my purse, my bag, whatever, I think that makes it a lot of fun. So, so in the meantime, I believe we are all done for today. And thank you so much for joining me. I had a lot of fun sharing these with you. And I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, don't drive anywhere tomorrow, especially if you're in Wisconsin or Illinois. Just stay home and join me at 9 o'clock for the shopping event. We will have a good time. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful comments. And have a wonderful and creative evening.